Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another video and to another episode of Weird Disney Cars Diecast Errors and Inconsistencies. It has been quite a while since I've done an episode of this series by myself that was a normal episode. Last month, of course, was the big 10th episode collab with a bunch of other channels. The month before that, I didn't do an episode since the collab was taking a while to put together. The month before that, in July, I did a collab episode with Disney Cars Enthusiast, and in June, the month before that, I did a separate episode going over errors and inconsistencies in my own videos. So I haven't had a regular episode of this series where it's just me talking about Cars Diecast errors and inconsistencies since May. So I'm really excited to be back to doing it. Of course, I love doing the collab episodes, and the episode on my own errors and inconsistencies was really fun, but I'm really excited to be back riding solo. You should have seen that coming. Anyway, it's been quite a while. There are a bunch of new errors and inconsistencies, as always, and some old ones that I want to highlight, as always. So without further ado, let's get started. I want you guys to close your eyes and picture Fillmore. Now tell me, what color is Fillmore's Volkswagen logo? If you said that the logo is silver, you are actually incorrect. Fillmore's Volkswagen logo is and always has been the same color as the rest of him. That's something that I didn't really realize. In fact, for quite a while, I thought it was silver. It's sort of like a Mandela effect sort of thing, honestly. But unfortunately, Mattel messed up on that very recently. You see, a few months ago, I got a message from the world-renowned Turbo Tractor who showed me that the recent Welcome to Radiator Springs Fillmore release, which I believe was the first Fillmore diecast to be made in Vietnam, gives him the inaccurate Volkswagen logo. Unfortunately, they made it in silver. I'm showing images here from the world-renowned Turbo Tractor's review. Link to it will be in the description. Definitely check it out. He does great reviews. And thank you to world-renowned Turbo Tractor for letting me know of this error, because I wouldn't have known it if he hadn't done this review. But yeah, unfortunately, they messed up. I really hope that this doesn't continue. I hope this doesn't become a trend with Fillmore diecasts. But it's actually not the first time it's happened. You see, the Precision Series glow-in-the-dark Fillmore that came packed with the Fillmore's Taste In building also had this error all the way back in around, I want to say, 2016 or so. And honestly, one look at this Welcome to Radiator Springs Fillmore and its super vibrant colors immediately reminds me of the glow-in-the-dark Fillmore, which used brighter colors, so maybe there's a bit of a connection there. Maybe they based the Made in Vietnam Fillmore off of this one with the brighter colors and the inaccurate Volkswagen logo. Regardless, this is just a trend that I hope does not continue because, again, it's not accurate. But not everything that I discuss in the series has to be something notable. Sometimes an error or inconsistency can be something incredibly small, something incredibly nitpicky. Case in point, the new 2021 release, Sarah Wheelson, a great-looking camera car from the first Cars movie. There's just one problem I have with her, and no, it isn't how weirdly far apart her eyes are on her packaging. Like, what is up with that artwork? She looks so off. Anyway, there's something else off with her. If you take a look at her artwork with her weirdly far apart eyes, seriously, why? That just looks so odd. Sorry. If you look at her artwork, you'll notice that the camera is attached to her left side, but on the diecast, it's attached to her right. Remember what I just said, guys. This one is a complete, total nitpick, but hey, it's still an inconsistency, so I had to report on it. Of course, though, what really matters is how she looks in the movie. And I'm very glad to say that in the movie, in the first Cars movie, when she appears, Sarah Wheelson's camera is on the same side as the diecast, meaning that the artwork is what's inaccurate here. Very glad to see that the diecast is accurate, although unfortunately the artwork is not. In 2016, Mattel released a multi-pack called Radiator Springs Friends. This pack included the Radiator Springs townies, just a bunch of them, and was based off of the cruising scene from the first Cars movie. None of the cars in the pack were exclusive, although Mattel still claimed one was. Who was this exclusive car? Why, none other than Lizzie with radio, who was literally just the regular old Lizzie, but with a new included radio accessory. I will repeat, once again, it was just a normal version of Lizzie with an exclusive radio. and they claimed that this was a new diecast, an exclusive one called Lizzie with Radio, and that it was an exclusive vehicle. No, it wasn't, because the Lizzie was normal, it was just the regular stock standard Lizzie, and a radio, last time I checked, isn't a vehicle. At the very least, they could have given this Lizzie a new expression and actually made her an exclusive vehicle. But instead, they just packed in the normal Lizzie, gave her a new accessory, and claimed it was an exclusive car. It wasn't. It was an exclusive accessory that you claimed was an exclusive vehicle. Although they were originally introduced in 2009, Mattel proceeded to go absolutely insane with their lenticular cars in 2010, releasing way too many of these cars with their strange, moving eyes that would oftentimes make it look like they had 3 eyes. Now, they're definitely not as strange looking as Sarah Wheelston's artwork, but they're definitely up there. I'm just kidding, of course. A lot of collectors really don't like the lenticulars. I just see them as a very interesting point in the history of the Cars Diecast line. Definitely pretty strange and very short-lived. But what you can't deny, regardless of how you feel about the lenticulars, is the fact that they made an absolute boatload of these. Everyone had a lenticular. Like, everyone you could think of. Obviously, Lightning had a lenticular. Sally had a lenticular. DJ, Boost, Wingo, Snotrod, Chief Nostall, Skip Richter, Milton Calipier, and Vern the Taxi Cab. You don't even see Vern's eyes in the Cars movie, but he got a lenticular anyway. But now's not the time for me to go off ranting about how strange some of the choices for lenticulars were. Okay, so my rant about lenticular Bert and lenticular blowing bubbles mater will have to wait another day. For now, I'm just going to bring up the fact that although so many characters got lenticular releases, Lizzie did not, which makes Lizzie the only Radiator Springs townie to not get her own lenticular variant. Even Red got one in a 3-pack alongside Wet Lightning McQueen and Sally. Yes, lenticular Wet Lightning McQueen is a car that exists. The lenticulars were weird, man. But again, Lizzie is missing a lenticular variant. Obviously, that's not something we'll ever see them do now. They haven't released any new lenticulars since 2010, and they haven't released lenticulars at all since, I believe, Christmas of 2014, where they were done as a special item. So, it seems that for all 2 of you avid lenticular car collectors out there, you're not going to be adding a Lizzie to your collection anytime soon. But you might be interested in lenticular Tim Rimmer. Huh? Maybe. Maybe? Hey guys, I didn't want to have to make this video, but recently I made a series of jokes at the expense of lenticular cars, and I'd just like to apologize. I've made a severe and continuous lapse in judgment. I don't expect to be forgiven, but I promise I will be better following this, okay? All of these things I just said for really dumb jokes, and I am so sorry. And I will be better following this. But please tell me, why is there a lenticular Wet Lightning McQueen? Does anybody really need that? In the past in this series, we've discussed how Chris Rostopski's diecast was updated and made more accurate in 2019, giving her a more accurate shape and putting her flag in the correct place on her wheel. Since then, we've actually gotten new versions of Chris annually. 2019 gave us the updated Chris with a green flag, 2020 gave us updated Chris with a white flag, and 2021 gave us updated Chris with a yellow flag. But, unfortunately, we still don't have an updated Chris Rostopski with a checkered flag, which is what the original version of her came with. Meaning that if you want a Chris Rostopski with a checkered flag, you'll have to settle for the original, which has an inaccurate mold and looks pretty different than all of the other ones. It's really unfortunate. Year after year, I keep on hoping that we'll get an updated Chris with a checkered flag, really hope it happens soon. It's a shame it hasn't happened yet. As soon as I first saw the Ghost Guido and Mummy Luigi, I started wondering if they had previously appeared somewhere. Since the Christmas cars are based off of a book, and so are the Easter cars, I wondered if Luigi and Guido could have been from somewhere else previously, or if Mattel just made them up for the Diecast line. So I reached out to my good friend and frequent collaborator Robin Tailspider, and I asked him if he knew of anywhere that these two could have come from. He came back with a very interesting result, a book from seemingly around 2012 called Truck or Treat. This seemingly very low quality book, with only 10 pages in it total, features the images of Ghost Guido and Mummy Luigi. In fact, these images are the exact same ones that we see on their cardback artwork. That's right, these two come from an incredibly short, incredibly obscure Cars book. Robin then went on to show me the pages they're featured in, which again features the exact artwork from the diecast, and these pages read as follows. Guido is looking good. He's wrapped up like a mummy. Is that Luigi dressed up as a ghost? If you think it is, say boo. Well, I'm not gonna say boo, because no, that's not Luigi dressed as a ghost, and for the record, that's not Guido wrapped up like a mummy. That's right, this incredibly poorly made, poorly photoshopped, low-quality book that somehow got a diecast release 9 years after it came out, despite only being 10 pages and seemingly being absolutely awful, got Luigi and Guido mixed up. So no, I will not say boo. This next one is something really minor that I haven't really heard all that many people talk about. By the way, sorry if my audio sounds different for this part of the video. I'm re-recording this segment and editing because I realized I made a mistake originally. Starting in 2020, the names of Cars 3 Lightning McQueen and Cars 3 Mac have actually had the Cars 3 parts of their names dropped. That's right, now they no longer say Cars 3 McQueen and Cars 3 Mac, now they just say Lightning McQueen and Mac, something that I think makes sense. You know, it's not really a big deal, I don't think. Definitely interesting. I was never really a big fan of McQueen being called Cars 3 McQueen and Mac being called Cars 3 Mac. I thought the name was kind of lazy. So, yeah, I don't really care that they dropped that subtitle. But it would be nice if they had a different sort of variant name for those, but I really wouldn't know what to call them. One of the many, many, many new Cars 3 releases in 2017 was Roscoe, the curator for the Thunder Hollow Demolition Derby. Roscoe was also one of many, many, many 2017 new Cars 3 releases to have inaccuracies with them. More specifically, Roscoe was far smaller than he was in the movie, with his diecast having been released as a single and being a pretty small car. He also had several different color inaccuracies, parts of him that should have been different colors, and things like that. I didn't really notice this when I watched Cars 3 or when I got the Roscoe diecast. So I was shocked at the end of 2017 when I watched a video seeing what diecasts would be coming out the following year, and I saw the prototype images for a sized-up deluxe Roscoe to be released in 2018. This Roscoe, now a deluxe, ended up being released in 2018 and was a huge improvement over the original, fixing not only the size error, but also fixing all of the color issues with the original Roscoe. But what I always found so surprising about this Roscoe was just how quickly he was fixed. To see Roscoe be released in the late summer of 2017, and by the end of 2017 already have prototype images for a corrected Roscoe, and for that Roscoe to be released the next year, was really impressive to see, and I wish that Mattel had that quick a turnaround time when it comes to some other inaccurate cars. Before we get to our final topic of the day, it appears that Lizzie with Radio has made her grand return, meaning that this episode of Errors and Inconsistencies has featured 3 different segments about Lizzie. The first Lizzie with Radio error, the lenticular Lizzie, and now this. You see, Lizzie with Radio got re-released in 2020 in the Welcome to Radiator Springs series. The first few waves of this series included repackaged accessories and new little bumper stickers with each diecast release. And Lizzie's accessory was appropriately her radio, which I think made a lot of sense. That's a perfect accessory to pack with Lizzie. But when this car was re-released in the Welcome to Radiator Springs series, She wasn't labeled as Lizzie with radio, she was just labeled as Lizzie. Now, back in 2016, we established the fact that Lizzie with radio was her own separate diecast and should be addressed as such. But here, she's just back to being normal Lizzie. And all this does is just solidify the fact that the original Lizzie with radio release was basically just kind of a scam to claim that there was a new car in the multi-pack. Because there wasn't. It was just a radio. Let it go, Ty. It's just a radio. It's just a radio. It's just a radio. It's okay. Although we already discussed a pretty obscure item earlier on in this episode, I still want to keep up with my usual tradition of ending with a more obscure Cars toy, something that is not from the usual Mattel Cars diecast line. Today, I'm going to be bringing up something that I didn't actually realize until my viewers pointed it out. When I recently did my Weird Products episode on different Cars board games, I got several comments from people bringing up the fact that the final game I focused on, the Trouble Mater Edition, featured a very strange error on its packaging. Although a piece of artwork of Cars 2 McQueen is used, he's using his wheels from the first Cars movie. Now, I didn't catch this, so everybody who did catch this and left comments about it, great job. I never would have noticed this if you guys hadn't pointed it out. Certainly something very odd. It was an image of Cars 2 McQueen, but with the Cars 1 wheels, which is just so strange. I really don't know how that happened. I assumed it was like a Cars 1 image that they edited to make into a Cars 2 one or something like that. I don't know, but another weird thing about it is that I don't think I've ever seen that artwork of Cars 2 McQueen anywhere else. You could also see on the box the generic stock art of Raul Cerul that's used everywhere still to this day, but Lightning, on the other hand, Lightning is just, I've never seen that image of him anywhere else. So, if you guys have ever seen this image of Cars 2 McQueen with Cars 1 wheels on any other pieces of merchandise or in other books or wherever, definitely let me know in the comments because I am not familiar with it, and it's very odd, and it's even odder that we discovered this on the box for Cars Trouble. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Disney Cars Diecast Errors and Inconsistencies. As per usual, if there are any errors or inconsistencies you want me to talk about, make sure to leave them in the comments, and who knows, maybe I'll feature them in a future episode. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.